In today's video, we're getting into the defender side of the Rainbow Six Siege operator tier list. So obviously we have all 29 defenders here lined up, and I'm going to list them from S tier to D tier. I'm not going to add an extra rank for Tachanka like I did last time. I'm not going to go to that effort, but Tachanka obviously has improved since then anyway, so who knows, but with that said, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like, drop a sub, notification bell, and also make sure to come check out my Twitch stream. Links in the description down below. I'd love to see you guys there. Do make sure to leave your opinions in the comments down below. I'd love to hear all of you guys' opinions on stuff, etc, etc. And if you guys just skip to the end, just let me know what you did and didn't like, I suppose. I know a lot of people do that with operator with these videos because they do take a while. So with that said, I want to elaborate my decisions for the people who actually are interested. But with that said, I know I've said that a lot. Pretty much everything I have to say. Let's get into it. So first of all, we're starting off with Tachanka. Obviously, someone to kick off the list for sure. He's definitely had improvements over time, but I still feel like he doesn't really fit into a top tier operator by any means. He's very slow. He has a cool ability and all, but I don't think he's a top tier operator whatsoever. But with his recent improvements, well, not really recent anymore, but since his old form kind of got moved, he got a lot more movement and just rotations, etc. He can actually move from a spot, unlike his old weapon. So I reckon I'm going to put him at C. I don't think he's a D tier operator anymore. I think he definitely leveled up. I think he has potential. He has a very strong weapon. He has a gadget that can be utilized by the right person. But I still don't think he's a top tier operator by any means, so I'm going to chuck him at C. But he is obviously the Lord, and we can never disrespect Tachanka in terms of just being a cool dude, obviously. Next up, we have Legion. Now, Legion has a lot of capabilities. He has intel gathering that really no one else has access to. He has a lot of it as well. He can throw like 8 of these goo mines. They also slow you down, which means, and you can't plant when these things are in your foot, which are very handy for last second counter pushes. I think is probably the best description. He has an incredibly strong gun, and he has a good speed defense ratio. I think overall he's a very exceptional operator in my opinion. And I'm going to put him at A. I don't think he's an S tier operator. S tier is only going to be for like the best of the best. I want to kind of split the tiers up as much as I can. But I think Legion is very close to an S tier, if not an S tier. I just think he doesn't really meet the perfect requirements for a perfect operator, but I still think he does a lot of things right, so we're going to chuck him at A. Next up, we have Capcam. Now, the other Spetsnaz bro, obviously, he has a lot more utilization. I always believe Capcam is obviously the better out of the two. He has 5 Capcam traps that can deal 60 damage a hit. Also very effective for late round pushes, such as Legion. He has a solid access to weapon variety. Obviously, the 9mm. I don't even know what it's called, but I think Capcam as an overall is a solid operator. He has potential, skills, and just general overall usage. I think he's definitely someone you can just pick. You can chuck your traps down, and then you can kind of just chill out. You've done your role as an operator, and this is someone you play like if you're looking for that, and like if you die, if you don't really want to feel like you've let people down when you die. Capcan's probably a guy for you. I think he definitely fits into the B tier. I think he's a good mix between top tier and bottom tier, just because his gadget isn't overpowered, but it also isn't like it isn't trash. So I think it fits the B tier quite perfectly. So we're gonna chuck that there. I think that definitely belongs. Yeah, I think he belongs there for sure. Next up, we have Warden. Now Warden, I don't think he's changed enough at all to really gain levels since the last time I did this guide, so I think he's still a D tier operator. A lot of people do like Warden, and don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on him at all. Actually, I kind of am, but just when you think about it, the MPX as a weapon is a pea shooter. If you're not hitting headshots, this weapon is quite terrible. But obviously, if you're hitting headshots, who cares? It's a good gun to control, and it got a good fire rate overall. But its damage count is pretty terrible for one. His ability really doesn't have much usage. Most of the time, you don't even find yourself getting flashed or looking through smokes. I feel like that's honestly more of a it's quite a rare occurrence, and like if none of that happens, like if the other team doesn't bring a blitz, the other team doesn't go for smoke plans, you basically picked a useless operator for no good reason. Honestly, he really just doesn't have any changes that's been made to him since last time that's really put him up at the higher tier. I still don't mind picking Warden every now and then, but I think he's definitely still a bottom tier operator in my opinion. Now, next up, we have Alibi. Alibi has access to a great weapon set, obviously. She has the, what's it called? The MX4 Storm, I think. That weapon is actually really good. I still do enjoy that weapon to this day. Obviously, her ability is a little bit of a letdown compared to a loadout side of her character. Her ability is quite terrible. It has its own benefits, but really what what does it bring to the team? Like, someone's going to shoot an alibi once, notice as an alibi, it might ping them a few times, but I swear, it's very rare that you actually capitalize off someone shooting your alibi, unless it's a on-site interaction. Like, they're on the site, they shoot an alibi. That's the only time an active ping from an alibi I feel like will actually be useful. Obviously, it'll give away someone's position, but most of the time when you shoot an alibi, your position gets given away as an attacker. You're just like, alright, I need to move. So, and then pretty much that ping is just absolutely useless. So, in my opinion, I think her gadget really does let her down, but her loadout does kind of save her in terms of an overall character. So, I'm going to put her at the B tier. I think she definitely fits in to that middle tier operator that has a mix of good and bad. Now, next up, we have Aruni. Now, Aruni is obviously the newest addition to this list. She has access to her Soria Gate, or Soria Gate. I really don't know how to say it. I do apologize. I'm probably mispronouncing it. But this thing is useful, right? You have to either run. It really does just slow down an attacker, because obviously you have to work around it in some way. You either just cop the 60 damage and run through it, or you maneuver away around it by throwing obviously, if you have flashbangs, etc., it's really not a problem. But if you don't have flashbangs, you either have to sacrifice your gadget, if you even have a gadget that can do that, or you literally have no choice but to cop the 60 damage. So it really does keep people slowed down, and it kind of makes them have to sit there and process what they're going to do with it, unless they already have an easy counter to it, such as flashbangs. And then in that time, you really can capitalize. She has the P10 Roni, which is a very effective weapon. Obviously a small magazine size, but still no recoil, high rate of fire weapon that can be capitalized and utilized very well. I think overall, as an operator, she has potential, but I really don't think she fits any top tier operators in my opinion from what I've played of her, so I'm going to put her at B tier as well. She's a middle of the line operator, just like Capcan and Alibi. Next up we have Bandit. Bandit will always be an S tier operator in my opinion. This may be a biased opinion, I really couldn't tell you. He's definitely my favorite operator to play. He just has a lot of potential. Bandit is still the number one go-to guy for anti-attacking gadgets. So any type of electrical gadget that comes through on the attacking side, Bandit can counter on a reinforced wall, and pretty much he just solves all your problems. Obviously he has counters, Thatcher, Twitch, whatever you want to do, but he's still the number one go-to guy for countering these problems. Obviously you can Bandit trick, no other operator has access to that type of efficiency with tricking against someone on the other side of the wall. He has an incredible weapon in the MP7. He has the what's it even? Is it the P12? I'm pretty sure that's what it goes by. Yeah, the P12 handgun, which is a great secondary pistol. It shoots at a high rate of fire with a good damage output. He has a nitro cell, which is a great thing to mix up into a defender, and just overall fits the perfect character build in my opinion. Obviously with 3 speed as well. He's just the guy. In my opinion, he is the guy. He deserves to be at the S tier, and that it may be biased, but this is obviously my opinion. He deserves to be there. Next up, we have Castle. Now, Castle is a very specific operator. I feel if you are solo queuing, Castle should never be played by you. Castle is someone who needs to be played by a team of at least 3 or more, in my opinion. He's definitely someone that you have to roll with when you're playing with people, because you obviously have to communicate the castles. You obviously have to communicate who's roaming, who's not, who's running these castles up, where you're putting them, so they don't interfere with anyone's rotation strategies that they pick their character for. He's just a nuisance if he's not being utilized that way. Like, if you're all solo queuing and someone brings a castle, he just locks you all in sight, all 5 of you in sight. Obviously, 2 people are trying to leave, someone else is trying to hold an angle, and there's just a castle in the way. It just pisses everyone off. And I think that's really what brings him down as a character. But in a team situation, and let's put it in a competitive situation, like a high rank situation, he can be utilized very effectively, but it has to be through communication. That's my opinion. And I think if he's being used by a really good team, he can be an A tier operator. But the general use of Castle, I feel like, is by just randoms who just feel like locking people in sight. So I think that brings him down. So in general speaking, I think he's about a C tier operator. The UMP is an alright weapon, but it's definitely nothing outstanding. So I think that fits his tier perfectly. Now, next up we have Clash. Now, in some people's eyes, Clash does have potential. She obviously has a semi-decent weapon. I won't deny that. Her weapon that she has access to is pretty good. But obviously her ability, she's just a weaker version of Montang, honestly. And as a defender, I feel like having a shield on defense was a cool idea and all, but I don't think we ever needed it. And I will always have an opinion on Clash that she's just useless. Like, 99% of the time, even though you might think I just don't like her, but really, what does a Clash ever do other than just slow you down? I know that's literally her build, right? That is her build. She is made to slow you down. That's what a shield operator is for. But like she just doesn't really have any benefits to pick. Like even if she slows you down, you're still moving. She's not like completely halting you. Her gadget doesn't stop you in your place. You're just slowly moving towards her. And the only time this is probably actually useful and not just a pain in the ass, like little Clash mains know this. Like when you're stinging someone out, like with 2 minutes left on the clock, what's the point? I just don't see her ever being a useful operator, so she'll always be a low tier operator in my opinion. She's going in the D tier. I know some people disagree. Honestly, I can see reasoning behind it, but I just really don't think she has any potential as a higher operator than that. Next up, we have Doc. Now, Doc is he's definitely still a high tier operator. I'm not going to deny that at all. But since the last tier list I made, he has obviously lost his ACOG, which from what I've experienced, I feel like I've seen a lot less people playing Doc since his ACOG got taken away, since ever. So obviously Doc's probably been hit in the face a little bit with that ACOG. That was his prized possession. People would pick him, spawn peek with him, etc. Obviously, I still think he's a high tier operator. Honestly, I still think he does everything that people need to remember. Doc is still Doc. He still provides health. He still has a great weapon in the MP5, even if he only has the 1.5 times. He still has a great weapon in the MP5 to bring on the defensive side. He has his stim pistol, obviously, which is incredibly powerful, and he's still one of the strongest anchoring presence you can have on the defensive side. If I look at this list here and just look over all the other anchors, I don't think there's anyone else that's superior to him in terms of just hard anchoring, so I think he still belongs at S tier. That's just my opinion. I may be wrong. You guys might prefer Rook. You guys might prefer Echo. You guys might prefer Mira. You guys might prefer Maestro. I don't know. But out of all of that, I still think Doc is probably the only guy who comes close. It's probably Mira. So I think Doc belongs there in the S tier. Next up, we have Frost. I think Frost, I've always believed, and I will continue to believe, is a mid-tier operator. She has access to a solid weapon. The 9mm is a... What does it go by again? C1? Yeah, 9mm C1. 45 damage, obviously that is quite good, but its fire rate is terrible. Her gadget can really be utilized effectively in the right person's hands, but if it's not in the right person's hands, they just get chucked under windows. I feel like 99% of the time, as soon as you see that Frost in the top corner, like someone spot, if no one knows there's a Frost on the other team, obviously Frost mats are going to be the most effective, unless you see one on your drone or something. But most of the time, if someone sees a Frost on the other team just pinged up, you're pretty set to just, if they're under windows, you're set to just shoot them, honestly. Like, unless it's a really late second rush, most of the time you'll probably remember to just get rid of them. So I don't think she's really anything special, but I think she does belong at a high tier, and she's definitely not a useless operator. She can just really be countered by pretty much anyone with a brain, pretty much. Goyo. Now, Goyo... I was actually playing Solid Diamond today, and I was going up against quite a solid Goyo. The dude mowed through like 3 of my teammates, and but in terms of his ability, he has access to 2 fire shields, I'm pretty sure. He's been nerfed a lot since his original release. And these fire shields can be effective, but they can also really be easily dodged. He also has the Vector, which is a good weapon, but it has a lot of recoil. Just in general terms, which is pretty much what I'm basing this off, obviously, there's a little bit of my opinion in there as well, but it's just really general terms overall. I think Goyo really isn't all that, and I think there's definitely just someone better you can play other than Goyo. I wouldn't say he's a bottom tier operator, but I think he definitely fits into the C, in my opinion. Next up, we have Jaeger. Okay, Jaeger, I don't even know what to do with this guy. He's obviously been nerfed a lot. His gadget definitely doesn't do as much as it used to since they made that whole one throwable disable thing. His guns obviously had a lot of damage decreases, etc. He's definitely someone else that I've noticed that lost pick rate over time. He's still definitely one of the most picked operators in the game. My opinion though, I've always thought Bandit was better, even back in the day, and I still do think that to this day. Obviously he's still a very solid operator, but I don't even know if I'd put him at S tier anymore. I feel like he's just an A, honestly. I know the Ash Jaeger mains are going to be in my comment section, but I said this about Ash as well. I think Zofia is just a better Ash, and I think obviously Bandit and Jaeger are not direct comparisons at all, but I just feel like as the 3-speed defenders, Bandit will always be better in my opinion, so Jaeger's an A. Next up, we have Maestro. Now, if I had made this tier list last year, I would have put this guy straight into the S tier. This dude was a beast. His weapon was just worthy of S tier on its own, and it still is. But honestly, ever since they took ACOG off Maestro, I've lost my personal interest to play him. I know he's still a very solid operator. His gun really hasn't changed that much at all, except losing a sight. But that sight really did create the difference for him, I feel like. And I thought losing the ACOG really wouldn't do much in terms, but it really did. And I haven't really messed with him since I messed with him when he had that ACOG. And when he had that ACOG, he was so fun to play. He was my go-to. But since they nerfed him down a little bit, he's just the guy now. He's not the guy, he's just the guy. So, but that pretty much sums him up in my opinion. I think he's definitely just a mid-tier operator now. I might be wrong. You guys might still love him, but in my opinion, he just doesn't meet his old requirements anymore, and his gadget's still very effective, but obviously it just all crashed and burned for me individually when they took that ACOG off him. So, but he's still a good operator. I think he definitely doesn't belong in a bottom tier. I think he still is, maybe even here, but we'll put him at B for now just because, I don't know, he's just not it anymore. That's just my opinion though. Alrighty, next up we have Malusi. Now Malusi, I think she definitely is a top tier operator, honestly. But she's just lost it over time. When she initially came out, when she had the T5, she had 3 Malusis, I think. They were really just, I would have put her probably about A. But she's obviously got the MP5 now, which is still a really good weapon to have. She has access to the Malusi still. Nothing's really changed about that. I don't know. I still think she honestly is a top tier operator, but I feel like a lot of people stopped picking her as soon as they took the T5 off. I think the T5 is probably better than the MP5, honestly. The MP5 is more of a long range weapon. I think T5 is really just the all around perfect weapon that you want. That's why I like Legion so much. But I don't know. Having the MP5, I'm really just, I'm a bit confused on this one. Do I want to put it there or there? I'm going to go with A, just because, honestly, the Malusi is actually a really good gadget. It's a very annoying thing to go against, because you just put them on side, right? And then they're just slowing you down, making loud-ass noise. It just pisses you off as an attacker, and they actually are very effective. And the character herself has 3 speed, I'm pretty sure, unless they've changed that. Let me just double-check that real quick. Malusi. Yep, she still has 3 speed. She has an MP5. I really don't... I think she... Yeah, honestly, I think she does belong in A. We'll go with that. Next up we have Mira. Now, Mira in the right hand is an exceptional operator. She has the Vector, obviously, which I did just kind of talk trash about when I was talking about Goyo. But her ability on its own, I think, deserves S tier. Like, think about it. If all you have to do is just watch one video on YouTube on how to play Mira, and you're pretty much set. You just have to run soft wall combinations. Honestly, actually, now that I think about it, she's more of like what I said about Castle, right? She's someone that you kind of need communication to actually pull off effectively. Because obviously, if you're just playing Mira solo, your teammate's going to reinforce the wall next to you and just ruin your whole day. You're probably going to shoot him in the head out of being angry, and then you end up losing the round because you're pissed for the whole round about that dickhead teammate who ruined your Mira strat. So, I don't know. I think, alright, we'll go with A. She definitely fits into a high tier operator and she has a lot of potential, but I think she definitely needs communication. But she's definitely, in terms of, if I'm comparing her to Castle, you can play her a lot, you can definitely play her easier as a solo than you can with Castle. That's just my opinion though. Next up we have Mute. Now, Mute is obviously probably the second top guy for anti-offense. He has the MP5K, he has a good overall build. I think he belongs in S. He is an S tier operator in my opinion. He has everything you can ask for that Bandit has. And he has more, honestly. He has 4 mute jammers, right, which obviously can disable drones, as well as all of this electricity stuff. Obviously, I feel like Bandit does it a little bit more effectively, but I think Mute's still definitely up there in terms of just counteracting this, along with having a powerful loadout. I think he belongs there by pretty much any definition. Next up we have Ella. Now, Ella in her prime, when probably a month after she came out, would have been an S tier operator by far, but they've obviously nerfed her to the ground. She's had a lot of changes over time. She's still quite a solid operator. Her gun still does output bullets at an incredible rate. Has a lot of potential. She still has the speed. She's still a good overall roamer. Her Grismots are still really annoying to get hit by, obviously, especially when you push into the site. You just get clapped for 6 seconds straight. But I just think she's lost, obviously, her touch she had when she first came out, and she was just this unstoppable force that you hated going against. It was Ashe, it literally changed the term Ashe Jaeger main to Ashe Ella main for a short time, because she was just that good. But she's definitely lost a lot of power over time, and I think she's probably about a mid-tier operator at this point. Lost a lot of, just got slapped in the face by the Ubisoft devs, and I do feel bad. I wish she was honestly wish she was still the force to be reckoned with. I don't know how the game would be at the moment if she was, but anyway, she's about a mid-tier operator now, in my opinion. She'll never go back to where she was, but she's still a solid pick. Next up, we have Pulse. Pulse has a lot of potential. Obviously, I was talking about the UMP before. I think it is pretty trash, but obviously his ability is very unique to him, and having that ability to track pretty much through walls can be very effective as a defender. And as much as I don't really want to admit it, I think he definitely is a higher tier operator. Really, I think he's probably underrated in a way. I know a lot of people hate on Pulse. He just has everything you could really want. Obviously, the only thing that's letting you down is his weapon, but every weapon can be very powerful in the right hands. As once you get hitting people in the head, it doesn't matter what weapon you're using. Once you hit them in the head, they die. Well, they should die. But yeah, so I think he belongs there. Like the whole see-through walls thing can be very effective, I think, and he definitely is a good operator in someone's hands who knows how to shoot their gun to amend the whole gun's kind of lame thing. But yeah, I reckon he belongs at A tier. Next up, we have Cav. Now, if you know me, you'll know I have an absolute fucking passion for just Cav being useless. But I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt, and I won't put her in the D tier. I'll give her a C. Pretty much. Kaevira, I've explained this so many times before, but her ability, she obviously has the Lucian, I don't even know how to say it. I'm not even going to attempt to say it. Every time I say it differently in every video, and there's still someone saying I'm saying it wrong, so there's just no point even talking about it. Her pistol, right? It's the most inconsistent weapon in the game, like any pistol really. Damage drop-off obviously in pistols is terrible. It's suppressed as well, which obviously lowers its damage, etc, etc. It's just an overall terrible weapon, in my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with me. My Kaevira guide has like 300 dislikes. I know a lot of people got mad at that video because I was just shitting on her the whole video. It's fair enough. I made a guide where I just talk trash. I'm not hating at all. But I just don't see benefits in her. Like, if you actually manage to get a down with Kaevira, right? You're going to go into this interrogation phase where you're going to interrogate someone, and then your whole team's going to turn into a bunch of animals and just get themselves killed. If you're playing against a smart attacking side, and then it just turns everyone to shit. Sometimes, I don't know, I'd say it's like 50-50. You're either going to have a team who's going to just kill themselves, or you're going to have a team who's actually going to effectively make use of the interrogation and kill people. But I just don't see her as an overall operator very good. Obviously, her SMG alternative is very basic, and her shotgun is meh. So, I don't know. So, I'd say she's about a C tier. I'll stick with that decision. Next up, we have Echo. So Echo, I honestly haven't played Echo in ages. I think he's still a very nuisance force. He's obviously got that counter plant strategy that will always be effective. He's got a very strong weapon, the MP5 SD. He's just a really good overall anchor. I think he definitely is a top tier anchor. Obviously, I don't think he's S tier, but we'll give him A. I reckon he belongs there. He's a solid overall operator. He provides a lot of utility. He also provides a lot of intel. What more can you ask for? Next up, we have Cade. Cade is obviously just the worst version of Bandit. Some people will argue that he's better. His primary goal is obviously to get hatches. Bandit can't get hatches unless he puts the bandit on top of the hatch, which obviously is just a waste of time. So that's where Cade comes through. Obviously, Cade can cover more walls, but if you're going up against someone as simple as a Twitch or a Thatcher, that Cade is gone. And that is why bandit tricking is much more effective. So I personally believe Cade obviously is just an inferior version of Bandit. But obviously for hatch countering, if you need someone to counteract that hatch, Cade is obviously your guy, so I don't think he's a bottom tier operator at all. He belongs in about the A tier. Now next up we have Mozzie. Now this one's probably going to be, I don't know, he has two very incredibly strong weapons. Obviously he doesn't have the super shoddy anymore, he lost that, which did kind of cap out his loadout as like one of the best to ever be added. But the Commando 9, the P10 Roni, the C4, the 2 speed, the very balanced speed, and the ability to shoot 3 pests and have the potential of 3 extra cameras to provide intel is a very powerful thing. And obviously, all of that together just builds a really good operator. I think his weapon honestly does put him in about the A tier on its own, and pairing that up with his ability, I'm going to give him S. Honestly, I don't even play him that much, but I think he just has the perfect build for a high tier operator. He's, in my opinion, he's better than Valkyrie on the intel gathering side. Better weapon, the drone has more utilization around it. Obviously it can move, a Valkyrie can't move, and you can kind of mistaken it for your own thing, so it has less chance to get shot. I think he fits S tier perfectly. Next up we have Rook. This guy's the go-to of anchoring in my opinion. Obviously he still has the 2 times, that is the highest zoom you can get on the defensive side, which means he's obviously at a level that Doc should be at in terms of anchoring, so he's obviously an S tier operator. He has access to the Rook armor as well, which is just a get it out of the way job, which means you can fully focus on just dedicating to keeping the site safe. If you die, you've done your job, you've sat on the site, what else can you do? I'd say that's pretty much all I can ask for in an anchor. He deserves the S tier for sure. Next up we have Smoke, another S tier operator by far. One of the best anti-plant operators in the game, has an incredible loadout in the shotgun SMG 11. Having a secondary that can output that much range damage, what else can you ask for? Dude's a beast, belongs in the S tier 100%. Next up we have Oryx. Oryx is, in my opinion, a bottom tier operator. He has the T5, that's the only good thing going for him. That's the only reason I might put him at C, but his ability really is just terrible. The only reason you should pick this ability is if you're the reason you should pick this guy full stop is if you're versing a fucking cracked Montang main and someone has to deal with him. That's the only reason I can see Oryx being useful. Even against Blitz, Oryx will just cop a flashbang in the face and then he'll probably charge into a wall accidentally and get shot. Montang is the only guy this guy's good to go against. Otherwise, you're just really picking him for your weapon, and at that point you should just go and pick Legion. Honestly, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I feel like he is kind of C, literally just for the T5, but I'm gonna put him at D because D looks like it needs more people. You know, yeah. Let's just move these two. I'm joking. Alright, I'd say Valkyrie. Obviously, I said before Mozzie is the superior intel gatherer, but I don't think Valkyrie is a bottom tier. I think she could probably go at about A. She obviously is the OG. She has access to the 3 cameras, which is something that you don't really get anywhere else except for in Mozzie. She has access to the MPX, which is a good low recoil weapon, but obviously to P-shoot you got to be hitting heads there. But otherwise, I'd say she's an overall solid operator, and I don't really have any hate. I don't really have anything negative to say, but she's just, as I said before, Mozzie's just better. Alright, 2 to go. Next up we have Vigil. Vigil is the GOAT roamer, in my opinion. Obviously, he has the K1A, which is a really great weapon, the SMG-12, and the C75 Auto, is that what it goes by? I'm pretty sure that's what it goes by. But obviously, 2 incredible loadout, one of the best loadouts in the game. Mozzie as well, I won't forget about that. Impact Grenades, which just caps off a roamer as a good roamer. Something else Ellie used to have before she got nerfed. He has 3 speed, he has ability that keeps you safe from drones, which is literally the one thing that will stop you as a roamer. He can hide from fucking Lion. Like, what can this guy not do to stop you from detecting him as a roamer? He is a sneaky motherfucker on levels nearly as low as Cav in terms of stealth. Just a beast in my opinion. Definitely the go-to guy, an S tier roamer for sure. And finally we have Wamai. Wamai is good. I don't know if I said this in the last video, but I probably might have been shitting on him. But I've recently woken up and realized that Wamai is actually a solid character. He belongs in the A tier. I would say Jaeger's probably a better version of him. Actually, now that I've said that, if he's a better version of him, then he probably shouldn't be in the same tier, right? So we'll give, for the people who made it to the end, Jaeger made it to the S tier. I think Jaeger will always be a better Wamai, but Wamai has his own individual utilizations, and obviously he also has the AUG, which is a great weapon to bring on the defensive side. And just a solid overall op. I think that caps off my list perfectly. I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think there's much I'd change. Obviously I could flick a few people around if I were doing this just for myself. Like, if I was doing this individually and not thinking about grand scheme, I'd go bang, 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 bang. Pretty much everyone in the C tier I just hate, but I do think about how people can utilize them themselves, and I think that I merged that into this tier list. But if you did enjoy this video, leave a like, drop a sub, notification bell, check out my Twitch stream, please. I like streaming, I'd love to see you guys there. I'm only joking, do it if you want. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. That's all I can ask for. I'll catch you in the next